So now I'm watching McMurphy and Chief and getting closer and actually interacting, and Chief is coming out of his shell, so supposedly.
Okay.
And then you find out the Chief has been faking it all along as well.
So the next scene, I think they're again still on the fence by this stage. They're like, okay, is he crazy or is he not crazy?
First line he says in this, your man is, do you have any questions? Your man says, where do you suppose she lives?
I did have an image of that.
Oh,
and then I thought,
it's
not relevant. It's not relevant. I thought, I'll keep that in my own safe deposit box.
Totally not relevant, but it's just I just thought it was very funny because I had those cards when I was younger.
I had to cut a lot of those type of photos to cut this down. So, did I say photos? Screenshots. Old school, man. Yeah. So then we have Jack Nicholson trying to use the Chief's strength to lift him up over the fence. And this is where I'm thinking, okay, he's going to escape. He's out now. Go! Run!
Yeah.
And no, he's actually not. He's going to take over a bus and take them on a day trip. Out to... Oh, no, sorry. He gets his girlfriend first. He picks up Candy. My girlfriend, Candy. And, yeah. She reminds me of your one from Greece. You know, the one with the curly hair?
Rizzo.
Rizzo.
Oh, is it Rizzo?
Yeah, I think it's Rizzo. Yeah. The mean one that smokes.
That got pregnant. And then
preggers. Oh. And then they end up at the harbour to do a little bit of fishing. And this is like, again, this isn't just arbitrary. I like the way it's a tie-in to the fish thing at the start.
Yeah.
I feel like the message that I'm trying to get out of it, maybe this is me working too hard on it, that people that have mental issues are no different from the people out in the streets. And the fact that the dean of this hospital is able to catch a big fish, they all come back with fucking massive fish. You know, they explain during this journey that you're no different. Hey, you're a fucking fisherman now. You're not a loony. It doesn't matter. He gives this explanation as to he doesn't even believe they're even all crazy. And this is where I feel like he's the crazy one. He probably should be in a mental institution. But that's what I think that the overarching film is trying to get across, except for the obvious of the dueling personalities, that these people aren't actually crazy. This is society has caused this problem.
Well, this is where I wrote my first note on the movie, right?
First note.
I'm actually going to read it to you. Oh yeah, this was my first note. Because I just nothing.
It was just a lot of hate for Jack Nicholson up until then.
I don't know. You were probably gone. I said it to Darren. I thought Jack Nicholson was fucking outstanding in this movie.
Yes, he did.
I don't like McMurphy.
I liked what you said there. I liked the fact that you thought Jack Nicholson was fucking outstanding, and I applaud you for saying that he's playing the character was amazing, but it's the character that I fucking yeah, but that's what I like.
So at this point, we're on the fishing boat where I started to get frustrated because he didn't escape.
Yeah.
And I checked the time on the movie, right? And we're an hour into the movie, and I'm like, seriously, it's been an hour, and we're nowhere, right? What I've written is, I've learned more about the story in the first 5 minutes than I have in the last hour. And I said, this is basically just a good old boys movie set in a mental institute so the slapstick humor can be played off as something more deep.
Oof. Oof. We're not even halfway through and you're already banging it down.
That was my initial opinion an hour through.
This is where the film goes off on a bit of a tangent and they go on a bit of a fishing trip. I like the interaction between the fisherman and Jack Nicholson. He's like, hey, these are all the doctors. We're from the mental institute. This is Dr. Scanlon.
But they all look to the camera like, I'm prestigious right now. This is, but like they're clever. As you find out later, there's fuck all wrong with them. Well, you can pick that or not pick that. I don't know. But like, I like the fact that even Danny DeVito and Martini, who was supposed to be like fucking nuts, turns around and goes.
But they all actually get an air of distinction. They're all like, very good.
But then the man runs off.
He runs off. He's like, wait a second. You don't understand.
We chartered this boat. So
I love the guy.
We're going to take it. Your man's like, no, you're not going fishing on this boat. No, we chartered this boat. Fucking
Captain
amazing.
Block. Captain Block. So they go out for a fish, and you discover that it's basically just Jack Nicholson's way of, number one, pissing off everybody in the hospital, and number two, to get them all going out fishing. So he teaches them kind of how to fish. He basically says, hey, stick a hook in the eye of this one and stick it out the other end of the boat. And Billy has a little bit of a sexual encounter with your one, by the way. And he's like...
Dirty fucker.
He is a bit of a dirty fucker, to be honest with you. So they all cop off with each other. And then you find out that they all go around the front of the boat to take a little bit of a peek. So we get them spinning around. I think this is the part where he like runs out of the cabin and is like, oh, we got one. So I think this is like a confidence building moment for everybody, effectively, with the whole entire fish thing.
Yeah.
We get them obviously. So perfect time to escape. That never happens. We get the doctor scene again. And this is one of the funnier scenes in it because we got the Indian doctor. He goes, I don't think he's overly psychotic, but I think he's still quite sick.
Yeah.
He's probably one of my favorite little doctors in the whole entire thing. He's brilliant. But we find out now, this is again one of the parts where Nurse Ratched is effectively trying to come off as a bitch.
But I like the fact that they show how important she is because she's in on this meeting.
Yep.
Like,
I would have nurse.
Yeah, but they actually, obviously, because he says it then, the one he's closest to is obviously the one he has a bigger problem with. That's you, Mildred.
The one he hates the most. And that's it. But my immediate thought on that line was that hasn't really come across. That they hate each other that much or that he hates her that much.
My thing that doesn't come across is that she wants to keep him there to torture him, which I think is trying to be implied, but she actually makes a valid point. We don't want to pass off our problems. And it's not like that evil turn to the camera. We don't want to turn off our problems. I'll keep him here and destroy him. It's like, no, It's like she genuinely wants to try and help him, I feel.
Yes.
So
no, I don't think she wants to help him. I think the fact that he's been a fucking thorn in her side is just the fact that she doesn't want him just getting off fucking easy. She wants to leave him in this fucking hospital.
See,
that's our premise.
You could interpret that on paper, but from the performance in the movie, I don't think that came across. I think she came across as like a nurse.
No, I think she wanted to just, because she has the power there, I think she wants him under her power. That's what I think.
This is why I feel like it comes back to times have changed, whereas like, oh, that's just a woman wanting to control a man, where nowadays we're like, no, that's just a woman trying to do her job. Right? Maybe. I don't know. So we get a little bit more basketball. I know, it's so like, I feel your pain, Derry. We get a little bit more basketball. And this is where the Chief gets a little bit more confidence.
This is a brilliant scene. I love the fact that he's so rigid that when he runs to each basket, he's not really like running. He's walking, just like stretching his legs.
But that's him. That's probably a normal person running, a short person like me. So they have a game, and the orderlies are really pissed off. Basically, they're like, "The fuck! You're not allowed to do that. That's cheating." I think what does the Chief do? Like hold the net and like punch the ball through the net again.
Up through, push the ball back out.
And then we get the pool scene, which is even weirder. So they're all just in a pool, and then they put a man in a wheelchair in a pool.
I was like, how the fuck is he? They have a floating device around them, or what's the story? Did they have something on
they have
them?
a little flotation device.
Jesus Christ. But like,
So
this is where I said, but the order is like what the fucking punch Jack Nicholson, because like your man
this is where I lolled. I literally just went, ha.
this is the part where I was a little confused. So maybe explain this to me a little bit. It's my understanding that Jack Nicholson thinks he's going to get out in 68 days of prison, thus being able to leave the mental institute.
Yeah.
However, they said, oh no, you're not getting out in 68 days because you're committed now. We have you not for 68 days until we think you're mentally capable of leaving. Yeah.
Because he did most of his time. What's in the book basically, he did most of his time, and he had 68 days left. But he was sent to there for the evaluation to be.
He wanted to be like, I'll just spend my last days basically in this chilled out.
He thought it would be easy, I guess. Yeah.
Right. In his thought, I do my last 68 days here. There'll be no fucking prison. It'll be easier than mental fucking. And your man obviously said to him then, "Oh no, you don't realize. You still don't know where the fuck you are. You're not getting out of here. This is totally changed. You're not getting out of here till we let you out." So
that was my favorite part.
He realizes that it's not about the time; it's about his behavior, which is the reason he got him in there fucking in the first place.
But I feel like again, the film should have made me want to believe that he's trying to make himself insane, that he gets himself into this position. He doesn't really prop up the insane thing. He plays it cool the whole entire time, which is believable, but it doesn't end him up in this position. So he's kind of just sailed into here. You know what I mean? If he was like trying to act crazy to get a month off, and then go...
He seems to spend more time getting everybody else to act sane than getting himself to act crazy.
But that's why I think he's actually mental. He doesn't realise.
I don't think he actually truly believes he's mental. And then when the time comes when they're like, I know, when everyone else is here voluntarily, he's like, oh my God.
Well, that's basically the next scene. We go into the part where he's like sitting down, really depressed, being like, why didn't Annie?
But you can see that he's totally defeated, because when he realizes that it's him, in the whole scene that goes, everyone else goes fucking nuts, and he's all calm and he's like just sitting down until Cheswick lose the fucking head.
I like the way, again, I would have liked the film to ramp up the fact that he was trying to pretend to be crazy a lot more, because at this part where he's like, why didn't any of you assholes tell me that we can't be let go? And then we get the part where Harding is like, oh no, I can go home whenever I want. I literally don't need to stay here at all. And hardly anybody does.
What did they say? I was giving shit to fucking Nurse Ratched, and you fucking knew how much I had to lose.
Yeah.
No, but they obviously thought that Jack Nicholson's character, R.P. Murphy, was there like they were. They didn't know, obviously. Yeah, they didn't know.
Well, again, it's not like he mentioned anything about, like, there's no backstory to these characters, which I like in this film, because this film would have been a fucking 3.5 hour film, and rather than a 2.25 film. But what I'm saying is that, like, they fleshed out the characters enough for me to be involved, but they didn't flesh out the story. Hey, nice apples, Darren.
Sorry.
Nice apples. And this is where we get to the point where the camera pans around, and then you're like, hang on a second, all the people that we've been seeing all along are committed themselves. And then we get a shot of Scanlon with a wooden box, and he's just sitting there with the wooden box. It's like, even you, Scanlon? It's like no, I literally walked in here myself. So I think it's only who is it? Him and who else?
It's the guy who's dancing. And there's a guy in a wheelchair behind him. That's the only guys that are there.
No, but the chief must be as well, because he wants to escape, right?
No, the chief put himself in there because of what happened to his dad.
But why does he want to escape then?
No, he doesn't think he's big enough. He doesn't think he's strong enough.
Okay, right. That's a bit shit.
He's obviously terrified that what happened to his dad is going to happen to him.
So then, hey, Jack Nicholson, you can break me out.
What I wrote down for that.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So, maybe it makes sense in the book. So, we then get on to everybody basically freaking out. Cheswick is wanting his cigarettes. A cigarette gets put into Christopher Lloyd's pants, and he starts flipping the fuck out. And then Cheswick wants his cigarettes again, basically. He's like,
you know, when he got tackled by the orderlies, whatever they're called. The first time they tackle him, we watched it back. Christopher Lloyd broke his collarbone.
oh, really?
Yeah, he broke his like. They went had a hard in this fucking movie. Like Christopher Lloyd, when he was jumping around, your man caught him. It was Christopher Lloyd's mistake because he jumped, and your man caught Christopher Lloyd just before he hit because he would have hit the fucking radiator, but your man went to grab him. Whatever happened, he put his arm on he broke his collarbone. One of the orderlies anyway broke your man's collarbone, and that's when you see him in because it was the same shot when he was been dried off. That's why he was screaming because he broke his collarbone. Yeah, he broke his
collarbone. Good acting. Perfect. You acted like you broke your collarbone.
But that's insane. If that happened nowadays, I said that now. Leonardo DiCaprio, again, go back to him, hit the fucking table, tore his arm up.
No, there's your man in Lord of the Rings and everything broke his foot, sure.
That was years ago.
That scream is kept in the movie. There's loads. That happens loads.
Or early 2000s, though. That's like eons ago. Before the virus.
What's Lord of the Rings, Derry?
So even though Jack Nicholson didn't really do anything wrong, Jack Nicholson did nothing wrong. He gets basically punched the fuck out because I think he goes over and punches a window in and grabs Cheswick's cigarettes and is like, "Here, take them." But
no, they're bringing off Cheswick, and then your man pushes Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson is the first one to throw a punch. So again, he's his own worst enemy.
No, but Jack Nicholson breaks a window.
Oh yeah, but he doesn't actually there's nothing happens to Jack after that because he just gives your man the fucking fags. Their cigarettes, Jesus. And they take Cheswick off, but as they take Cheswick off, your man's like, "Look, stop, he's okay." And your man pushes Jack, but Jack punches the orderly first, and that's why your man fucking goes nuts on Jack.
So they end up basically being brought into this other bit of the wing that's clearly for the very questionably mental people. People that are probably very, very, very in need of help, shall I say. Cheswick is the first one to get taken away. He gets snatched up and gets brought into a room effectively to be helped with electric.
This is another perfect example of the acting that's in this fucking movie. Like, they go every actor in this movie goes fucking above and beyond with their performance. Yeah. Like, you see where he jumped, like, it was raw, because when he jumped on Jack Nicholson, when he was screaming and shouting, you see Jack Nicholson being dragged off that chair by his fucking arm, like, they were holding on to him. But, like, that's what the directors said to the lads, "I want you to act like," I don't know how you could do it now, and how many actors do it now. And not a lot, as I've seen.
Do it now!
Do it! But, like, I don't see too many actors act like that nowadays. Like, that fucking, like, you believe these guys are going to get a fucking
raw passion. Actual passion.
I watched it 3 times this week. And each time I was like, I felt bad for that guy. I was like,
yep.
He's pulling, like, he doesn't, like, you believe there's something fucking wrong with him, even though you know he's an actor in a fucking scene. But that's how good it fucking is.
Well, we get like a hint as to probably what's happening, but you don't really know if Cheswick is overacting or not, because you're like, okay, where are they going? And again, from maybe a modern point, a modern point of view, you may not know what's happening, but in this time, in the mid 20th century, people got, well, actually, they still do today, actually, electroshock therapy, but a little bit more. Well, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But again, it was pretty brutal back then. They basically gave you a fit. They gave you an epileptic fit. And then they lobotomized you, which again, they still do today. But again, I can't really comment on because, I like my brain, even the bad parts. So we get the famous juicy fruit part now. So at this part, we've basically seen the chief not say anything and apparently not be able to hear anything. And then we get the, juicy fruit.
This is the one surprise of the movie.
Yep. What do you think of that, Darren? Did you know about this part? The,
no.
Juicy fruit. You didn't like it?
Well, however I felt about the movie so far, it went downhill from here.
Derry.
From this scene.
No, and I'll explain exactly why, right? The whole
Okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom, but I still have my Bluetooth headphones.
All right,
I'm
okay,
listening.
well, listen
I'm
up,
listening.
right? The whole time, and I said at the beginning, when he first started having this like relationship with Chief, was, oh, maybe this is his redemption arc. Okay. So now I'm watching McMurphy and Chief and getting closer and actually interacting, and Chief is coming out of his shell, so supposedly.
Okay.
And then you find out the Chief has been faking it all along as well.
Well,
I've lost all sympathy for Chief. I've lost all interest in McMurphy's redemption arc. I have, like, this whole thing has just been a sham from the beginning, and I've lost it.
I just think what it was, like, what I got from it was the fact that the Chief obviously went in there for his own stuff that's going on, but he's never had anyone that even paid, because obviously here through the whole movie they're saying he's just a fucking dumb and deaf Indian. He don't talk, and McMurphy's the only person now saying that has been talking to him for his own fucking gain to try to get his own. You know, he never talked to him anything but if it didn't help McMurphy.
I think that
shut up, you weren't the time. You.
I was getting Coke for my Jameson.
Yeah,
the Coke that I have.
I just think that McMurphy was, but when the Chief, I think it was an arc in his own fucking nice, because the Chief actually thought he was close enough to actually let McMurphy, you know, I would say that he didn't want time and know he was deaf and dumb, and he wasn't deaf and dumb, but I think he actually just trusted McMurphy enough to talk to him, because obviously I think you would see him talking until the end of the movie then.
I think that Jack Nicholson's character McMurphy found a lot of commonalities between himself and the Chief, and that's what I like to think about the character in and of himself. You get those very loud characters, you get those characters that are all about themselves, very narcissistic, all about the party, but at the heart of it, they actually are, you know, mentally probably needing a lot of the time, and this stoic big Indian man. And I feel like the film, for some reason, emphasizes the Indianness, not the fact that it's a man stoic, but it's a man stoic. He's Indian and it's mysterious. I feel like, remember The Crow, where it was like, ooh, an Asian.
Oh no,
it's like I feel like it's like, ooh, a Native American. Yeah, like it's a faux, like, ooh, the New World. You know, I think it's still back in those times where you had those stereotypes of, you know, Lepretians in Ireland, the leprechauns, Tabigara.
The pebble stones and all that.
The pebble stones of Tara. But again, that's why I think you're like, Jack Nicholson is meant to empathize with this character because he's a stoic character. And maybe that's something that he's like a bully. Like, you know, that maybe Jack Nicholson is like a bully character and he feels like this strong, silent type, a little bit more appealing. But
I totally
basically, like Derry said, it is a bit of a con, and it's not like it is kind of played up. You're like, the Chief is like, yeah, I absolutely fooled them. And they decide, this is where they plot the plan to go to Canada. And it's only really mentioned once effectively, but Canada is mentioned of them trying to escape. Jack Nicholson gets brought into a room, and he thinks obviously I guess it's just going to be like a stern chatting to, and no, it's not. It's not a stern chatting to at all. It's electroshock therapy, where they basically put 2 bits of cotton on your head. I didn't get the screenshot, unfortunately. It's up there. It's right up there next to the Project Lab label, right up top. Cotton swabs. They wet your face, put conductant on the side of your head, and they shock you into a seizure to fix your brain, because that makes sense. It's like turning off and on your iPhone. He has a little bit of an epileptic fit, and it isn't good. Bam, 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 bam. He then pretends, I guess at this point, that he has been... Did you think that he was actually proper... Like, I bet you were looking, what happens for the rest of the movie? Does he just walk around not saying anything?
Well, no, because at this point, all you've seen is him just causing havoc. Like, literally nothing has progressed in the story except that he's caused havoc, in my opinion. And now, at this point, like I said,
Rabble
I've been
rouser.
irked by him to the point where he walks out zombified, and I'm like, oh, thank fuck, maybe we can have some progression in the story now.
Now that the protagonist is out of the way,
maybe something's going to happen. Maybe Ratchet is. I don't know. Like, there's no tension, there's no progression, and at this point, I'm like, oh, something interesting has happened. But then I've been conned into that as well.
You've been conned. It's like a whole scam to you. You've been
Every time
scammed.
I cling on to some sort of arc, that arc turns out to be fake.
Right? Actually, good point to be made, because even at the end, when it's like an escape arc, they don't even do that. So the chief is like, okay.
God damn it.
Darren is yet to defend this movie. So now this is where we're getting into the flaws.
I'm defending it every which way but loose. Screw the two of you. I'm fucking doing a great job of defending it. Suck it, right?
Oh, that's my next pick for next week. Every Which Way But Loose. With Clint Eastwood and the monkey.
Oh, really?
No, it's not. God.
Oh.
Oh, really? Oh, a monkey!
No, I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid. Anyway.
I've never seen that movie.
Those movies mean a lot to me.
So the chief is like, oh shit, he's been fucked up and lobotomized. And no, he's fine. He's fine. He just had a little bit of an epileptic fit, and all is good.
Yeah, but don't you turn and say, Jack Nicholson says they've been giving me this many watts, 10,000 watts a day, and he has like, so he's been there a couple of days, obviously, like fucking getting these electric shocks.
I feel like he's been there like a month or two or something like that. Like it's like, you know, that kind of a thing. Like we were talking about back in Misery, where the changing of the clothes, I just feel like that progression has already happened.
Yeah.
So Jack Nicholson obviously thinks, okay, I gotta get the fuck out of here now. They're starting to electrify me, so I gotta hatch a shitty escape plan that I don't even fulfill. So he goes over to the chief and goes, okay, I gotta get out of here. And he basically gets his two lady friends to arrive at the mental institute. And again, this is where my memory faltered, where I was thinking, does he get like people to break him out, or how does he get out? I honestly had it in my brain that he gets caught outside of the hospital. For some reason, I just thought that's the logical thing to do. So I was getting like a little bit of an anxiety pit in my stomach when he wouldn't get out the fucking window. He just sat there, and then he fell asleep. So he convinces Mr. Turkle to actually, isn't that the name of JD's friend in Turkleton? Turkle, Mr. Turkleton. So he I love the transitions from this guy being so angry to getting paid to then having no problem with a girl being like, hey, can I take a bath? And them like being, yeah, no problem. That guy got paid off easy. So he starts suggesting that I need some sort of a physical payoff for this allowance. And he gets nothing at all. But he gets a suggestion of it, which is enough for him to carry on and let the women in and bring him into the bathroom side of the hospital. So your one is a little bit, your one with the blonde hair, it feels like she's like, I thought we were going to the movies. Like, why am I here? Really innocent like looking. And yeah, creepy old black guy is like, no, I'll take care of you. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. So then, okay. So this is where the movie starts to lose me a little bit. I'm like, he starts waking up all the patients. And I'm thinking, okay, he's actually he is mental. Because a normal person would be gone. A normal person would be out the door. I've distracted the man. I'm gone. No, he wakes up everybody and wants to have a bit of a party. I don't know why. It's like, I feel like in the movie it tries to justify him building up enough rapport with them that he wants to give back to them. But I don't feel like that's happened. You know? He's not made that like charismatic connection with people, and he wants to give them a party for no reason, and that's why I think he's a little bit insane.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I don't know. I kind of got the feeling it was like a goodbye party. It was intended to sort of be a goodbye party.
But that's a bit mental. When
Oh,
you're trying
no,
to
like,
escape somewhere, it's a little bit mental.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So the janitor guy comes out and he's like, "What the fuck?" And then the nurse comes down, like, so he rushes them all into the one room, the little side door. They're all basically out getting pissed and everything, and it rushes them in the side door. And the nurse one comes down and he's like, yeah, no, everything's fine. What's the noise? And there's like a crash inside. And he's like, ain't nobody in the door. And he's like, open the door. And there's a woman there. And I like this. I like this part where it's like, okay, good. Pretend there's only one woman there and not a whole load of fucking lunatics inside the place. So he starts being like, I'm a very lonely old man. I'm sorry, ma'am, but it gets awful lonely. So she's like, get that woman out of here, and leaves. And then he goes, fuck it. The whole place is destroyed. He basically just suggests that, oh, you know what? I'm just going to get pissed and I don't give a shit. Which I like. I like that character basically is just wanting an easy life. So everybody in the place starts to get absolutely pissed. The two ladies have brought in like 2 big bags of drink. And it's a good old Irish session, if I do say so myself. People drinking out of tubes. Billy starts dancing with... Is she meant to be a prostitute?
I think they are. Or she is anyway, yeah.
Or
I got that feeling. I'm not sure if it was
worker.
explicitly said, but I got that feeling.
Yeah. Sex worker, right? So, Jack goes in while they're all kind of, the party's calming down after a while, and robs the janitor's keys while he's sleeping on the couch. He then tries to escape, and I'm like, yeah, go escape, Jack. And then Billy has a little bit of a conniption because Jack is leaving, and he's like, you know what, I gotta stay and let you have sex with this prostitute friend of mine, with Candy. They all capture him in a wheelchair and bring him into the room to have sex with Candy. And that's all fine. That's completely fine.
Oh, totally fine.
But then Jack Nicholson just falls asleep. And then so does the Chief. They fall asleep. And I've been there. I've been there where I've been that drunk and I've woken up the next day on the floor and I've been like, oh my God. And people are like walking in the door. You know that feeling? People walking in the door and you're like, oh shit, why am I naked? I've puke everywhere. But I'm like, at that point, I'm like, how much of an asshole would you have felt? Like, I've made this big scheme to escape and I couldn't even stay awake. So, a big party erupts. They come back the next day and Nurse Ratched is there, checking to make sure that nobody has escaped. Billy is dragged out from the room. By the way, the window is still open at this point.
Yeah.
They could genuinely just get out of the window while everybody's talking. This is where you get the confrontation between Nurse Ratched and Billy being like, I'm your mother's friend, remember that. You had sex with a strumpet. I feel, again, this is like more of her traditional views rather than her being an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, what would your mother think of you sleeping with a prostitute? Yeah. So, again, resting bitch face. You know, there's a difference between a Kristen Stewart's face of 100 emotions and this woman's resting bitch face. Like, this is clearly something she's tried to put on, and that's the emotion that the director has wanted to give her, but that's all they can give. You know, the character is good in a lot of ways, but very two-dimensional. She's the only two-dimensional person in it and doesn't really have any motive to be evil. So, resting bitch face, that's all we get. Now Jack Nicholson decides to start unlocking the window after they've closed it. and starts to try escape. The orderlies, I love the way the orderly puts on like a leather strap on his knuckles. Remember that, Darren? Where he like sticks a leather strap.
No,
it's like he's like he's prepared.
I thought you were saying, do you remember when we did that?
Remember Darren? You were over at my house and you put that leather strap on. You took me in your arms. Jesus Christ. I remember when I said that? So, he put the leather strap on his fist.
Yeah.
In the movie. And there's a bit of a kerfuffle. But then they hear, that Latino nurse that's in it for like 2 seconds that has no parts, finds Billy dead after cutting his own neck with a shard of glass. So it's kind of thought of as like, you should be blaming the nurse at this point. And again, I'm not there. I don't blame the nurse.
Well, that's why they did it. That's why they...
but I feel like...
Because of everything that was happened with McMurphy. And then she's to blame because obviously what happened, not necessarily what Billy did, but she's represented as...
It's not that I don't understand it, but I just can't justify it. You know, I understand the logic, but I can't justify the action. Ooh. Oh no, I left my left ear. So
what did I miss?
No, but what I was saying is that
she says to Billy that you know, I'll have to tell your mother what you did. He's like, please don't tell her. Like, well, I've never killed that with your mother. You know, I'm best friends with your mother. Yeah. He's like, oh, I killed myself because of that. He like, again, it comes back to the further point at the start of where he's like, you know, you never told your mother you tried to commit suicide.
No, but this is the point where it's like Jack Nicholson shouldn't have done that in the first place. He gave a vulnerable person access to emotions that he wasn't ready for. And he explained that earlier in the film. He's like, why can't you leave, Billy? Like, you're young. Like, you should be out fucking people. He's like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And Jack forces, not forces, but...
doesn't really give him a choice.
Gives him a slipway. Says, hey, you know, why not? Fuck it. So it is like that kind of like, you actually supplied this person with the means to kind of kill them. Like, so actually, the film's intention was to make you hate Nurse Ratched in this part. But Jack Nicholson, you're like, you actually encouraged that behavior to get him into a state where he couldn't handle his own emotions.
All Ratched did was say, go sit in the doctor's office. And Billy's like, oh, but I don't want to this. Ratched's just like, go sit in the doctor's office. She never says you're going to be punished. She never says I'm going to
tell your mother and you're going to be punished.
She never says you're getting electroshock therapy. She never says any of that. She literally says, go sit in the doctor's office. That means we're going to have a little talk.
Yeah, but that was enough for her.
I don't think that you can blame Ratched for what Billy did.
No. And again, that's the point where we get to now this, where it's like Jack Nicholson tries to strangle her to death. Like, genuinely tries to kill her. To the point of being a maniac. And I was like, I can understand why someone could feel like that, but I couldn't justify that in a normal, rational person. Whereas Jack Nicholson tries to play himself off as this everyman, like, hey, everybody's mental, but no normal, rational person would do that after even an event like that, because it wasn't even built up enough. So, I think the orderlies get Jack Nicholson off, and then it's some time afterwards, and they're all playing poker now. So I like the way that they started off playing like Go Fish, and now they're playing poker. So there has been a little bit of a change in the characters, effectively. And then we get the guy saying, McMurphy's escaped. And I think, like, I like the way that this character wasn't really explained throughout the whole entire film, but I feel like he's in there because he's a pathological liar. You know, this character with the red face?
Yeah.
He's like a pathological liar, and that's why he's in there, because he makes up this flagrant tale, like, and then he knocked out 3 guards in the tunnel and ran away. And I kind of like that part. I'm like, oh, I like that kind of character, little bit there, little character description. But no. I think Harding says, oh no, he's meek as a lamb. And upon hearing that, the chief isn't too happy about that. So at night, the next night, it would seem, or some nights afterwards, there's some people walking in to the ward, and it's 2 orderlies accompanying a man in shadows. So you discover that it's Jack Nicholson. Unfortunately, Jack Nicholson has had some surgery to his forehead in terms of not needing these parts of his skull or brain. He's been lobotomized. And that's a bad thing. I think we would agree. JFK's sister was lobotomized.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? Yeah. There you go. There's a little tidbit for you. And he was not Irish at all.
Darren, you're very quiet.
You're very quiet, Darren.
Have we...
I think we pummeled him into submission.
No. I'm just listening.
So, Derry, how are we feeling at this point in the movie?
At this point in the movie, I am... Like, I know earlier I was hoping... No, actually, at this point, I've been so screwed over by the plot that I actually am completely indifferent by the fact that he's had a full frontal lobotomy. To be honest. I feel nothing.
No empathy.
No empathy, nothing. I know I'm supposed to. I can tell by the way the movie is going that I'm supposed to feel empathy for him at this point. But he didn't get that redemption arc that I've been talking about from the start. So I don't feel empathy for him.
Darren?
I think he did. I just feel sad for him. I just feel sad the fact that, like, this place he's been totally killed by this place. He's been totally fucking taken over by it. Like, he thought, compared to what he was when he went in first, and he was like full of jokes and full of, this place is just my fucking bitch and stuff. And what has happened to him in here? Like, mentally, not just the lobotomy, obviously, but mentally, like, I think before he got the lobotomy, he was, like, totally defeated. When he saw Billy, that was the end of him. I have a totally different fucking experience this movie from years ago. Did you enjoy Ratchet more than this movie?
Yes, 100%. Okay. I loved every minute of Ratchet.
And see, that to me, I didn't, because I think the person in this movie and the girl that Sarah Paulson played were 2 different characters.
Oh no, absolutely. As a different movie, I didn't look at this Ratchet as that Ratchet. I knew it was a different story, so I didn't compare that. Is the Ratchet in
Ratchet like a bitch?
Not really.
No, she's actually quite caring towards her patients.
She's a survivor more than that, that girl in the show. She does that to survive and that to get, like, the whole show is basically her trying to help someone out, but she does obviously horrible things to help that fucking person out.
She does actually give a shit about her patients, her job and stuff.
It's like end justify the means kind of thing.
Basically, yeah.
It doesn't come across it like that in this either.
Oh yeah, it's very, very different. Very, very different. So once I kind of realised that, obviously I didn't go into this taking the Ratchet series as an example or taking it as a reference. I left that completely out of it.
So with this, I feel like the Ratchet character could have put a lot more pressure on Jack Nicholson's character. I feel like Jack Nicholson could have been a lot more of an asshole at the very least if it was going to be that way inclined. But by the end of it...
What did you feel for Jack Nicholson at this moment when he has the lobotomy? What did you think?
I felt horrible. I wouldn't like anybody to get a lobotomy. I wouldn't like... I felt like this was a film about individuals and it was a film about being yourself regardless. But at the end of the day, Jack Nicholson didn't realise what was right and what was wrong. And that's the basis of it. He had his own emotions, but he couldn't control them. And whether he should be in prison or whether he should be in a mental institute is a good discussion. But at the end of the day, nobody is the greatest enemy in this other than Jack Nicholson. He is the protagonist, and he is his own enemy. Like you said, Darren,
Yeah.
at the start, it's not Nurse Ratched. She's the box. She's structure. She's society. But she is not evil herself. She's like neutral. She's like doing her job, and that's what society is there to do. And Jack Nicholson's character is the rebellious person that ends up getting lobotomized by society. And if you want to take it that's like, oh, an existential, yeah, I learned from it. But as a character study, like as a character, I didn't really feel bad for him. I felt, you know what, at the end of the day, he's probably better off that way rather than fucking over a load of rest to people. Like how worse could he get, basically? It kind of takes a weird turn now where the Indian, the Native American guy becomes like the protagonist. He fucking puts a pillow over Jack Nicholson. I thought it would also be funny if Jack Nicholson was also joking at this point as well. And
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, no! And he dies. So they have a bit of a moment, and the chief basically says that he doesn't want to leave without, he couldn't leave Jack Nicholson in that state effectively, which is fair. So he decides to escape without him. He kills Jack Nicholson. He goes into the bathroom. I like this bit where he decides to actually accomplish something that, you know, McMurphy wanted to do in the first place and rip out the water thing, and then puts it through the window, absolutely demolishes it. Like that thing weighed a ton. It was like marble. Puts it through a window and then walks off into the distance.
Well, I can't understand something. You know when Jack Nicholson at me and he was like smothering him with a pillow, would that just be your, because this is something for me, would that just be your body reacting to trying to get some oxygen?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was thinking that. I said, if you can't, okay.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, that looks like he was actually going, no, stop! I'm joking.
Yeah, no,
I'll be back in 2 seconds.
That's why you can't smother yourself. Because once you start having that fit of trying to get oxygen, you're obviously going to let go and the oxygen is going to come back in.
Yeah. I was thinking that because something I always wondered, was it Jack Nicholson obviously fucking about, or was he actually just, like, clearly he wasn't, clearly he was just, but then again, it was that thought in my head, was like, was it...
No, you see in any movie of somebody getting smothered, they always have like these full body jerks.
Yeah.
The oxygen kind of goes out. So
I thought it was one of those things where, not that he didn't have a lobotomy, but he had a lobotomy, but he's like, he was able to like tell him, but he didn't obviously get a chance to fucking say before he died.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. I suppose the question would kind of still be there though.
It's like a horrible fate that, you know, your man fucking killed him, like thinking that he was the...
Yeah, like how, what's the word? When someone is present, how... Oh, what's it called when you're lucid? Like how lucid was he?
Sorry, yeah, lucid. Yeah.
You know, because that's obviously another question that could be there. Like, okay, he's had a lobotomy, but he's come out of a lobotomy before. Well, it was electroshock therapy before being perfectly lucid.
I guess we'll never know.
We'll never know.
And that's a good point to end this podcast. We'll never know. But I like the film. I genuinely enjoyed it. I think it was a little bit weak in points.
Yeah, though it's a little perfect. I would agree with that.
No, but I think at the time it would have been like awe-striking. But nowadays, where we can actually see people for what they are, it doesn't make as much of an impact as it probably should have. Like I said, I watched this film probably about 10 years ago and had a different opinion about it than I would have now, because I came to this film watching it with a different opinion altogether. So with that, I really enjoyed the film, but there was points in it where I would have liked to see it pop a little bit more, give me a little bit more investment in either hating character A, B, and C, or empathizing with character A, B, and C. They gave me too much at too many times. Either the nurse was trying to be over-controlling but actually morally right, or Jack was meant to be individualistic but morally wrong. So it was like four competing aspects kind of come together in the film with a lot of fantastic actors. So at the end of the day, I think I'm going to give this film a 7 7 cuckoos, and an egg that's kind of like crushed and fell out of the nest. Darren?
What?
7 cuckoos, but then like a cuckoo's egg that's like fell out of the nest and never survived.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it.
Everything.
I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
An 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Very reasonable. I like it.
I have a question. Was your score higher before the podcast?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
No.
We had no influence at all.
I really, really, really enjoyed the movie, and I like doing these podcasts because I like getting different point of views from when I do watch it next time. I think, oh, maybe Jack was a fucking bit of an asshole, but I still take away from it when I watch it again, and I always say, yeah. Like the reason why I took the 2 points away from 10 is because there wasn't more. That's literally it. I would love it more. And also that scene that I fucking hate with her on the boat. I can't. I have to fast forward every time. There's nothing to do with the movie. It's just me, and I find it very boring. So,
for a film that was 2 hours and 15 minutes, there was no boring parts in it, which I'll have to give her credit. It didn't bore me at all.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of parts where I thought I would have liked a little bit more.
Yeah.
You could have replaced that scene with a better scene, let's say. Derry, your rating out of 10.
I was bored at a lot of parts, so I disagree with you. I think the first half was very, very slow. It was kind of samey, and there wasn't like hardly any progression. Like I said, I felt like it was too long, and that what's that right down? It tried to be both a comedy and a social commentary, and never quite achieved either. So I'm going to give it 4 red pills, and that is just for performances.
Oh, more red pills this week. What is it with the women and giving men red pills, right? Red pill and men. I think overall, it was probably, it felt like a movie taking a lot of tips from a book. It didn't work in the same structure as a film would normally in a 4-act structure. That's why I kind of left it out this week, because the act 4 was basically 20 minutes before the end of the film, where actual people developed and things happened. The rest of it was just Jack Nicholson. But again, maybe you have a different rating. Maybe you have a 9 out of 10. Maybe we're completely wrong and we're completely amateur about it, but we would love to hear your thoughts on the subject. We're going to take... Oh, Darren.
I think you're both wrong.
I like it. Okay. Continue. Oh, is that it?
That's it.
Oh, okay, thanks. Well, we're both wrong, and this is a democracy, so me and Derry win the day. Darren, you're wrong. But maybe next week you'll be right, when we'll be watching The Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Yay!
We'll be watching The Wizard of Oz next week. It's my pick, because I'm wonderful. And it's one that I hope you will join us for. My pick last time was It's a Wonderful Life. Maybe I'm going with some sort of a wonderful theme. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. So join us next week when we'll be talking about The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. And then it'll be Derry's pick next week. After that, we'll have a fun old time. So again, thanks for joining us this week on Twitch. We'll be on YouTube on Tuesday with the full episode. And then during the week, we'll be releasing small snippets about an hour long. So make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Come on to us on Instagram.
Come on to us.
Jesus Christ.
Come visit us on Instagram and see the finished product that's beautifully in the middle. I'll be transitioning to it right now in just a second so you can have a full look.
So we're going to ignore this part because that part got lost in translation. So we're just going to ignore that weird part. So yeah, basically, I didn't find much to inspire me in this movie, symbol-wise or imagery-wise, because obviously it was just a very
awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. Is that what you're saying? Awesome. Yeah,
so obviously just Ratchet and her red pill. There you go.
Hey,
I decided to go with the public perception of Ratchet and add in those kind of like horror red streaks and just go with that.
I think she looks smoking hot in that picture.
She does look pretty hot, doesn't she?
She looks pretty hot. I like it.
I draw a lot of hot women, so I don't think I can avoid it.
Yeah, sexy. Hey, Judy.
I'm trying to make her look older, and I just can't do it.
I will make a request for next week, if I may. Can we include the Scarecrow in some fashion?
Oh, interesting.
Hey, maybe people can suggest things for your drawings next week. Maybe people can comment in the chat and suggest something for the Wizard of Oz next week, such as...
Are you wrangling for a free tattoo design? Is that what's happening right now?
I'm trying to wrangle for a free tattoo design. That's what's happening. You read me like a book, Derry. So that's what we do. If you have a suggestion for maybe Derry's picture next week in the theme of the Wizard of Oz, do feel free to comment on our videos. We'll be on YouTube, Instagram. Where else are we, Derry?
Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch.
All the good ones. So thanks so much again for joining us again this week, guys. We'll be back again next Sunday. Sunday is going to be our day for a podcast. I think it works a lot better and everybody can chill out and we get a little bit of a time towards the end to just have a bit of a chat. And yeah, invite your friends. Invite all your friends. We love friends. Darren, do you have anything to say?
Just that they were both wrong on everything, and it was awesome. And if you haven't seen the movie, watch the movie and just don't listen to what they said. No,
okay.
No. All opinions are awesome here, and I actually got some really, really good fucking advice about the movie tonight that I will take on board for next time I watch it.
That's what we want. That's what we want. More opinions, more differing opinions.
Because I get like good opinions and like stuff that I watch when I watch the movies next time. Like I will never watch The Crow again, but if I was to watch it, like I would think something different about it now. And like The Craft especially, and like this movie definitely, because I will be watching this movie again.
I think this has been one of our most divisive movies.
Yeah,
I think we needed that. There's been a lot of love for like It's a Wonderful Life and Misery. I think we needed one where we were very on different pages, like
So go back and watch how much we disagreed or agreed on the last one. I'm basically the one that gets shouted at a lot and disagreed with, but this is where we all had differing opinions.
Our resident contrarian usually.
Yeah.
Today was my turn. Apparently, it's usually Jamie.
So again, thanks so much for joining us again this week. Myself has been Jamie. Thou self has been Darren. Thine self has been Derry. And join us again next week for a lovely rendition of A Real Shade. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a lovely night. Bye-bye. Bye.